I the a-hole for telling my parents that if they won't tell me the truth, I'll assume the worst of them? Plus updates. Original post. So, my 14 female family totally exploded while I was on a spring break 2 weeks ago. I went on a trip with my grandparents and came back to my mom moved out and a serious sit-down talk about them divorcing. It's not exactly a surprise because they've both been acting weird and shady for a while. But that's not what I was expecting to come back to, and they could have let me unpack first at least. They asked me if I had any questions, and I asked them which one cheated because that was my first thought. They got super uncomfortable and said that the reasons between them were private. I said, not when it means I suddenly lost my family over it, and they owe me at least some reason that this is happening, and we don't love each other anymore doesn't cut it. You don't just stop loving someone for no reason. That's dumb. So what? They said that was all I needed to know, and we need to talk about how the living situation was going to work and everything. I told them that I don't want to live with either of them if they're going to be like that. Everyone has been mad since then, and my mom came over to talk it out last night. They still don't want to tell me why. I told them both that if they were going to hide stuff, I'll just make up my own worst case and go with that. And since mom left, it can all be her fault. And since it's her fault, I won't live with her or go see her. She got upset and said that it wasn't fair, and it wasn't her fault. I told her to give me the real reason then, or just deal with it. My dad said I was out of line, and I said that it can all be his fault then, and same deal. That started an argument between the two of them, but I'm holding my own. Pretty sure at least one of them will crack and tell me what happened soon, so I can decide how I feel about it. I don't need graphic details, but a simple someone cheated, or mom's a secret lesbian, don't tell anyone. Or, we've both really changed a lot, I don't want the same things would help. If one of them did something bad, I want to know. If they won't own up, or explain why there are no bad guys, they can both be the bad guy. I had to talk to my school counselor today, and she said that is totally understandable. But playing them against each other is going to hurt everyone. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. You're the a-hole. Jesus, kid. Your parents are having far more decorum in this divorce than most divorcing parents ever have. They are trying not to pin blame all in one parent and have to work out this incredibly massive shift in their lives themselves. This is a huge thing for them emotionally as much as it is for you. If they are not at each other's throats and trying to make things as smooth for you as possible, you can at least show a little decorum and give them some time to work up to explaining it to you. Not everything needs to be the result of some big, explosive, dramatic moment. Life isn't TV or TikTok. Go out and touch grass. I'll add that I think her parents are doing the right thing in not telling her. Not every conflict needs to have a bad guy, even if one parent betrayed or hurt the other. Opie's life has been turned upside down, and she's looking for someone to blame, which is a natural response. Opie's relationship to each of her parents individually doesn't need to change, just because their relationship to each other has. Teenagers are developmentally not generally able to see gray area in complex situations like this. Let's assume, as Opie is, that one parent cheated on the other. It's a very good reason to get a divorce. There was a betrayal in that relationship. I don't think it means that Opie should now see that parent as the bad guy and refuse to ever see that parent again. This isn't healthy for Opie or the parent. I don't condone cheating, but I don't think it's necessarily a reason to lose your relationship with your kid. Marriages are very complicated, more than a 14-year-old is able to realize. How many Reddit posts have we seen where a kid's entire relationship with their parent is ruined over things like this? I think you are 14 years old and don't understand adult relationships. I'm sorry they sprung it on you like this. It isn't fair. In time you will learn the truth of what happened between your parents, but right now, it may be too raw for them. They are human, and it is painful for them too. Be grateful they aren't blaming each other to you. Many things can end a relationship, not necessarily cheating or interested in different gender. Give some slack for getting a divorce, but you have every right to express your feelings. I'm very sorry this happened to you. Agreed. And to add to this too, if Opie's parents have been acting strangely for a while, then this trip with the grandparents may have been strategically planned to get her out of the house so they could settle the logistics privately. Or, even if purely coincidental in timing, the opportunity could have been the same. Oh, the trip was definitely purposeful. I feel for Opie. Even if they saw the writing on the wall, it still feels like you're being blindsided with such an abrupt reality change that was decided when you weren't around with no input. 14 is a hard age to deal with such big feelings. Many kids haven't had the sympathy gender kick in yet. Everything is all about me. They did this to me. It sucks, OP, but one day you'll understand that it's not about you. And you're not entitled to the intimacies of your parents' relationship. I'm sure you don't want them to be all up in your business all the time either. Everyone is hurting. I'm sure they didn't make this decision lightly. If otherwise they have been good parents, give them some grace and love them each separately. If you let it, it will get better. But do you see them as people? Obviously, they weren't happy together. Did it ever occur to you why they weren't even staying together? People also make mistakes and do stupid things when they feel unhappy and trapped. Are you saying you're perfect and will never in your life make a mistake? Yes, I see them as people, and people make mistakes. But people who are worth keeping close admit their mistakes, apologize, and make it right. My parents have been wrong about a lot of things before this. They never once apologized to me, so I already had a bad opinion of them. It's just worse now. If I ever make the kind of mistakes I now know they've made, I really hope I have someone close that will go off on me like a nuke. Why do they owe you an apology for their marriage not working out? They owe me an apology for lying to me for over a year, right to my face when they know I know better. They owe me an apology for springing this on me before I even got my bag set down, good coming back home. They owe half the town a huge apology for the way they've been behaving and treating people at this point. Edit. Okay, I'm the a-hole. That's okay. I did some digging on my own tonight, and I know pretty much what happened now. I don't feel bad about being an a-hole to a-holes. Thanks. Now for the first update 6 days later. This is more of an exercise for me so that I can get my thoughts straight before I make some decisions. If you're here to at me about being an a-hole for my AITA post, today is not the day. And I'm not the one. I accept the judgment. I just don't feel bad about it now. If you can be cool with your feedback, I'm open to that. I do listen and turn over reasonable advice, but I've had a stressful week, so constructive replies only please. I won't be humoring aggressive trolls. To bring everything up to date, family therapy was a fiasco. I told a counselor that I didn't want to participate and I would rather stay in the lobby. After she tried to convince me to stay in the room, she let me go back out. My parents told me I was grounded if I didn't stay, but the therapist talked to them alone for a while and then we left. I'm not grounded and they're big mad. I still have to go with them weekly, but I don't have to stay in the room. I have to go to an individual counselor next week, and I'll see what happens when I refuse treatment. Hopefully, I won't have to go back. I've decided to keep the contents of the dossier I gathered closed for now until I can weigh a couple of points of moral conflict. There are illegal things going on, but busting it open could hurt people who don't deserve it. It might keep some other people from getting hurt though, depending on how my parents react. There's a not zero chance it could get me physically hurt unless I can do it in a way to be out of reach. I want to have private in-person conversations with all my grandparents, and maybe my rabbi first. My mom cracked last night like I thought she would, but only admitted to my dad cheating. I am so done with both of them. I was going to spend a month with each set of grandparents this summer anyway, so my parents agreed to just let my home base be with my grandma until the fall. I'll go once my exams are done. At least my grandma's happy. I talked to my other grandparents after Shabbat dinner and told them that I know they lied to me. They apologized and we talked. I'm sleeping over with them this weekend and we'll hash some things out tomorrow. I feel like something I've learned this week is that some people really get mad when I resist being controlled. Being a good kid and doing what everyone has always told me are the right things doesn't matter unless I shut up and do what I'm told. I'm not going to stop doing good, but I feel pretty done with shutting up and obeying. A lot of people said I would regret knowing the truth. I don't. Happy is not a word. I'm just tired and really disappointed and angry. Now I know who I'm dealing with, and I feel better knowing that I wasn't imagining things like my parents said. Short version. 1. Both my parents are cheating. Both are angry at each other over it, as it wasn't like an open situation. They just cheated. 2. My dad bullied one of his partners into terminating a pregnancy last year. One of the people he's cheating with is under 18. He's doing stuff that's going to get him on some kind of list, and probably jail if he gets caught. 3. My mom is trying to break up her boyfriend's marriage because she thinks he'll move in with her then. She's done some really sad and crazy stalker things, and it's scary. She cracked like I thought she would, but only told me my dad cheated. 4. They tried to force me to participate in family therapy and threatened to ground me for the entire summer if I didn't. The therapist let me sit in the lobby while they talked, and I think talked them out of it. I have to go to the place with them, but I don't have to sit in the session if I don't want to. 5. I talked to my grandparents about lying to me during the trip, that no divorce was coming, and they apologized and said that they realized now that it wasn't the best approach. So we're cool. 6. I'm going to spend the next few weekends in summer between my grandparents. I don't even want to look at my parents. Basically, all the sneaking around, fighting, and shady stuff I noticed was real, and they've been lying to me for nearly 2 years. 7. Now I have to decide whether to out them or not, because really bad stuff is going on. The plan at present is to talk with my rabbi about the ethics involved, and then tell someone who can do something at least about the underage girl. The rest of it is crappy, but that's the part that really needs to be stopped right now, I think. I just had to comment here. Reading your post was like reading how I was at age of 14. Very stubborn, very concerned with right and wrong, and filled with rage. But you are allowed to be filled with rage, because I can't imagine coming home at that age and hearing that. I am so sorry, OP. I want to know though, how was your relationship with your parents prior to all of this? It seems like you're very adamant about your harsh behavior towards them, which makes me think you never trusted them. Or maybe you were just acting like this now because you were very confused about the situation. You said something illegal is going and don't want to bust it open because it gets other people hurt, but it also may prevent someone from hurting others. This is gonna be a really awkward question, but did one of your parents cheat on the other with someone who wasn't of legal age? Because that's the only thing that comes to mind. You don't even have to answer if you don't want to, but that just seemed concerning to read. I read all your comments and my suspicion was proved right, but I also learned other things. I'm so sorry. I haven't trusted my parents for a while. Looking back, I don't think I've fully trusted them for way longer than before I started noticing the really weird behavior in the last couple of years. I just didn't realize that it was why I felt weird about them. They don't get me, and it's just gotten worse over time. With how they handled all this, it's like they don't know anything about me. I loved my parents. I just don't like them very much. Now, I don't love them either. I don't want to get into the illegal stuff just in case, but this is life-ruining, go to jail for years stuff for my dad. And my mom's not far behind with what she's doing. There is at least one underage person involved, I'll say that. My mom's stuff seems to be escalating, so I'm worried that if it doesn't go the way she wants it, she might end up doing something even worse. My mom cracked last night like I thought she would, but only admitted to my dad cheating. I am so done with both of them. So why did she move out and not your dad? She says she moved out because she doesn't want to be in that house anymore because memories. That's BS. They're both cheating, and she thinks she can break up her boyfriend's marriage and have him move in with her. I don't want to go into the specifics of everything she's doing because it's just weird, sad, and increasingly illegal. Now for the second update. Things blew up this weekend. I wasn't home when everything happened, so I missed most of the fireworks, but I've gotten the story through my family. My dad got suspended from his job Friday, and the cops took him in. He's out now, but my grandparents told me that it's serious. Everyone in the family's all riled up, mostly at my dad. Apparently, the word got out since he's a teacher and a coach, so it's a circus. My mom showed up to tell me what happened and take me to her place, but I told her I didn't want to. My grandparents talked her down, so I'm staying with them. I go to a different school, but they decided to keep me home today. I'm supposed to talk to some people later this morning anyway, and go get some clothes and stuff from the house. I haven't heard from my dad. My other grandma, his mom, came over yesterday and I feel really bad for her. This is the saddest I've ever seen her since Grandpa died. No one seems to know that I reported it. I don't know what happened with the girl, but I'm guessing she admitted stuff was happening. I hope she's okay. I don't know where things go from here, but I've told all my grandparents that I don't want to live with Mom. Living with Dad doesn't seem like an option right now, but I don't want to go there either. They said we would figure it out. I told my grandparents, Mom's parents, last weekend that I don't think she's being honest with them, and they believe me. The cop I talked to said that as long as I'm in a safe place with people who are looking out for me, it's not likely that anyone is going to make me go back to my parents without a lot of legal wrangling. So as long as my grandparents are okay with it, I should be okay. I've got a summer job in the works, so I'm just going to focus on that and lay low, I think. Save up everything I can. This whole thing is a mess, and I feel like I'm stuck in a nightmare a lot of the time. But I'm not sorry I found out the truth. Parents, they mess you up. Poor Opie has been lied to and gaslit so much that she has huge issues with trust. I don't blame her for digging deeper and finding the facts about what happened. Probably why she doesn't want to see a therapist. Talking to a therapist about how you feel takes a certain level of trust, and her parents have severely damaged their child's ability to do that. They don't deserve to be called parents. I never once thought she was the a-hole in that whole situation. Hopefully, she will be able to heal on her own the further she is away from them. I remember reading her original post. I know that parents are usually told that it is not helpful or good for their children to know if they are divorcing because of infidelity or for one parent to lay blame on the other. So, as a general rule, her parents were doing what they should have done in refusing to explain the details to their daughter. I think I commented to gently say something along those lines. And I'm pretty sure I also apologized for the fact that some of the comments were just awful and cruel. I also seem to recall saying that I agreed her parents were being unreasonable and refusing to give her any answers regarding the reason for their divorce when she gave them the opportunity to say something like they had just grown apart, etc. But they wouldn't even give her that, and that, quite reasonably, increased her suspicions. I definitely remember feeling bad for her, and now I feel just terrible for her. Jeez, the poor kid. However, given what Opie discovered, especially about her father and his student, I have to say, in the end, she was right not to let things lie, and I was wrong to say otherwise. Both of her parents are clearly complete messes, and given their behavior, she is almost certainly better off living with her grandmother/grandparents. Also, I'm really glad she's got such a good rabbi, and that she feels can trust him.